What is going on, my dudes? It's your boy Daily Tactics here, back with some more Men of War Assault Squad 2, the Red Rising mod series that we have been working on for the past few weeks. The one with the rioters versus the US federal government. In the last episode, a bunch of modern day pirates decided to attack California, but the US Marines managed to repel that attack, and that probably bolstered the US government's morale quite a bit. So the US Army was like, you know what, we want a victory of our own. We've been having a lot of trouble with these pesky rioters. We should go ahead and launch a big assault while morale is still up right now. So they're trying to take over a key emplacement of the rioters here, this train station. As you guys know, train mobility and the ability to utilize trains for troop transport, resource transport, just all sorts of various helpful things that train yards can be used for. The rioters realized all this and were like, all right, we need to lock down this train station and keep the U.S. military from taking it over, basically. So they've set up some pretty extreme defenses here with tank traps, barricades, barbed wire, and the works. Obviously, it's been bombed out pretty badly, and there's been a war zone here, but the rioters have managed to hold on to this train station for the majority of this revolution that they've got going on. But today is the day where the U.S. Military is fully mobilized, and they've decided we're taking it no matter what. So they've sent in basically an entire battalion of troopers here, kitted out with SMGs, assault rifles, machine guns, sniper rifles, the works, and they're going to be launching a huge attack on this train station. The rioters, like I said, they're pretty kitted out as well. Of course, pretty scrappy too. They've got pistols, they've got AKs, they've got old World War II weapons and stuff like that. They've also got some stolen, ballistics vests and whatnot. So they do have a hodgepodge of weaponry that they can utilize for their own good here. So it'll be a pretty interesting fight. I'm pretty excited to see what happens. The initial train yard defense is here, and then further and further back, there are more and more defenses for the rioters to hold. So without further ado, guys, I'll be right back and we'll get this thing going. Alright, you bad Larrys, let's get this thing going. I think we should go in slow-mo for the first bit because it's going to be pretty intense. Let's go ahead and press start here. I'm imagining fire is going to start almost immediately, and that is completely true. The rioters begin to fire the second they see the U.S. soldiers in their iron sights here because they want to hold them back for as long as possible. And why risk letting them get closer and closer with better and better accuracy when you can just start firing almost immediately, Just start ravaging those lines, and we can see they are getting a good amount of fire out. A bunch of them getting suppressed, though, because this is a lot of U.S. soldiers coming at them very, very quickly. I'm not really seeing too many dead. There's a couple guys starting to go down just now, but they seem to be holding up a-okay for the time being. I'm seeing a lot of dead U.S. soldiers, especially in this choke point over here. There's like two lines of assault. There's this over here in these apartment buildings, and then there's this over here in the main drag. Neither has a ton of cover for the soldiers to utilize, except for over here when they sort of break out of those apartment buildings. So the faster the U.S. sort of gets underway and starts heading for the cover that the rioters are using, the better off they're going to be, because right now they're just sort of sitting ducks in the open, and that is never what you want to be in for a military excursion. There's also this nice little sewer line over here that's sort of been plowed out, and they're starting to get into that. I'd say that's very fair play. That's a smart idea to start doing that. Bit of an assault over on the left over here. This barricade over this way is has free reign. I'm seeing very little in terms of U.S. retaliation against these guys over here. A few shots coming in at them, but these guys are fully intact besides that one trooper who just died, including a machine gunner right there, just spraying troopers down. The U.S. needs to get on these guys, and it seems like they're starting to by collectively going over this way. But there's still this one resistance fighter right here just gunning them down. Holy cow, look at this guy. He's an absolute champion. How many kills has he got? 8! He's got 8 kills. What a nutter. Oh my goodness, what an epic gamer. He's just a gamer, bro. Oh, but he kind of grenaded himself there, so he's trying to duck away from that. He dives. U.S. soldiers also having to dive out of the way from his grenade, though, so it might be effective. We'll see if this manages to get any kills here. Let's see. Skadoosh. And he did manage to get a few kills, and he is still alive. He's getting up right now, but he gets gunned down by a U.S. soldier. His reign of terror is over, but he did manage to hold off the U.S. military from his friends over here for the time being. The rioters, of course, have very shoddy weaponry, a lot of pistols, a lot of random, you know, guns you might find in residential houses and stuff like that, but also they have some stolen, you know, U.S. military grade weapons as well, and things like that. So, you know, they're running a bit of a shabby operation, but they can definitely do it. I actually had someone comment in the last video that not to give the rioters guns because it doesn't make sense for them to have guns. But I would say the exact opposite is true. There's actually, you know, statistics that there are over, I think it's like 390 million guns in the United States alone, which is like a third of the total world number of guns available in the world. And that's one gun per every citizen. And you know, most of those guns are owned by multiple guns per citizen, and then there are of course non-gun owners and children and whatnot, you know, and people not able to get guns and things like that. But that's a lot of guns, so I would say this is very plausible for, you know, rioters or revolutionaries to be able to get their hands on weapons in the United States. Perhaps they're not from the United States, perhaps they're from like Australia or Great Britain where guns are outlawed or something like that. But you know, I'd say this is very, very plausible in terms of all that. Either way, the early sort of defenses in the rioters' positions are getting taken out. I wouldn't say that's the worst thing ever because, I mean, they got a ton of kills early on here, and they've gotten a substantial leg up on these U.S. soldiers who are attacking them. Not to mention, this whole position, it's not worth too much. I mean, yeah, they have the train station building here, but that's like the least valuable part of the train station. The actual value comes from, like, you know, cargo management over here, as well as the tracks themselves. So the rioters still hold the most valuable part of the entire train station, I would argue. And in addition to that, they've still got a ton of defenses back here. So this fight is far from over, though. Let's go into normal speed here. I would say one thing that's definitely going to be disadvantageous that's going to put them at a disadvantage is the fact that now the U.S. soldiers get to go up over this hill and shoot down at the rioters. That is actually pretty big in terms of a military advantage there. They're still taking some losses due to the rioters just having nice defensive positions, but you know, having the high ground, as Obi-Wan taught us all those years ago, is absolutely key. Look at these two rioters here. They did just go down simultaneously, but they were just chopping down U.S. soldiers. Oh, there's still a couple more back here managing to do the same. These staircases are turning into a no man's land very, very quickly. A tough place to take for sure. This sort of second line of defenses is starting to crumble a little bit more, but not before taking out, again, more and more U.S. soldiers. Not to mention the train station itself seems to be completely intact, and these soldiers are managing to do quite a bit. It looks like we got a guy with an STG-44 over here. He must have picked that up from like an antique shop, but he's cruising with it. He's working with what he's got. I mean, fair play by him. I'm pretty sure German World War II weapons are some of the rarest, like for antique collectors, because if you think about it, U.S. soldiers, their weapons were, you know, they were such a surplus that the U.S. government was just trying to get rid of as many as possible after the war. So, whoa, bazooka shot right there. Okay, I see. Fair play, U.S. government. Fair play. So it seems like, you know, German weapons are probably the most valuable in terms of, you know, getting your hands on antiques and stuff like that. We've got a guy over here with a Russian, looks like an AK-47 most likely, as well as some Russian armor, you know, probably pilfered off the black market or something like that. This guy's also got an AK-74U, but he does get shot down. Very, very sad. There are a few Rasputins on the map, but I have yet to see one, actually. I don't remember where I put them. Be sure to call out if you see a Rasputin in the battlefield. The train yards are now sort of getting flooded with a bunch of U.S. soldiers right now, but the resistance is doing a very, very nice job. I mean, their defenses are pretty tight still, and they're still managing to get a ton of kills on these U.S. soldiers. And the U.S. soldiers are having to fight tooth and nail for every single position that they take here. So It's seeming like this battle is going very well for the Resistance, and they might be able to clutch a nice little victory here, and we sure as heck know they could use it because they've been having a lot of trouble in the recent battles they've been doing. So if they do manage to get this W, then good on them. They'll be in a nice position to probably counterattack against the U.S. government, perhaps fighting a you know, U.S. military base or something like that, you know, take on a big dog, because if they could manage to, oh, that looks dope. I want a screenshot of that. Yes. Screenshot. Yes. Because, you know, in all truthfulness, if they took over a U.S. government military installation, military base, then they would certainly be able to, you know, capture some tanks, capture some artillery, things like that, even the odds a little bit in this Revolutionary War. And that would certainly be an interesting dynamic for future episodes. We've got like a little bit of a buildup of resistance over here in this tiny little train yard area with the operating crane. A group of about 6 troopers over this way taking on a bunch of U.S. government soldiers in this choke point and managing to hold them off nicely. Meanwhile, the rest of the battle seems to be migrating more and more to the left over here. Wow, it was a slaughter over here for the U.S. Whew! I guess they're all U.S., but U.S. government. This little outpost of resistance is doing a nice job. There's also a bunch of troopers over here still managing to get some crossfire in there as well. This whole sector is virtually untouched. The U.S. government not managing to really do much in terms of damage against these guys just because of how nicely their defenses are set up over here. One soldier has gone down over here, but there's plenty more to sort of take the mantle and work on stopping the U.S. Army. But the U.S. Army is migrating tons of forces this way to try and turn the tides of war right now, focusing less and less on the right side over here and trying to just crush the resistance on the left so they don't have to deal with it later. Oh, and they are breaking out over this way. Look at this guy. Chopping down some troopers. Some troopers. It is really getting intense over here, for sure. I would honestly, if I was the U.S. government, I'd squash this over here, and it looks like they're starting to, which is good for them. Big grenade right there, blowing up a whole bunch of these troopers. Wait, what are you shooting at? What? U.S. soldiers made it all the way over here? What the heck? They're going around this fence. Alright, well, they're going on for the long flank, but there is a sniper here. A big Lord Chonk sniper, but he goes down. But not before getting some kills. Dang, son. Actually, I think he killed the guy who killed him. Martyrdom. So this resistance has finally been squashed, and that's good. But I would just pressure all the way to the right, and then you can flank the left, you know? But instead, they seem to be just taking both sides sort of head on instead of navigating any sort of flanking or anything like that. Though this side is starting to crumble a little bit more, less and less resistance is available over here, and the U.S. soldiers managed to sort of take it out nicely. There's still a whole lineup over here against these logs. That will certainly cause some more losses for the U.S. government. A couple of guys with ACOGs trying to take them on early on. One of them getting chopped down. Reinforcements coming in quick, though, to replace the fallen. Nice. Meanwhile, the main force is sort of, I don't know, targeting these guys over here, I think? Yeah, probably. I mean, there's still a ton of resistors way back here, too. Not to mention this entire line of resistance here in this trench, the sort of final defense area. So I think the resistance has a very good shot of winning this thing overall, in all honesty. Like, they could totally do it. I think the odds are definitely with them here. I'm very curious to see, though, because the U.S. Army, I mean, I'm still seeing a ton of their troopers, too, so it's like 50-50 on who's going to win this thing overall right now, and I love that. I love it when it comes down to sort of clutch times, and we're not totally sure on who will take the lead here. Who will take it all over. I'm getting very into the Red Rising mod. I kind of want to do, like, 2 of these videos a week. Part of me does, but I don't think I will, because, you know what? That would just tire me of the series overall, and I'd run out of ideas faster, so I'd rather be, like, enthusiastic every week for the episode than, you know, exhaust myself doing it very early on. That sort of a thing. Yeah, you feel me? You catching my drift, boyos? But, you know, that doesn't mean I'll be skipping uploads of this, because I'm very enthusiastic about it. Not to mention, also, Sunday I'm going to do Army Men Civil War. I didn't last weekend just because I ran out of time, and I couldn't do a story-based episode, really. I just had a lot going on. I had 3 midterms in one day, which like physically depleted my energy so hard. I was so tired after all that. So didn't really manage to get that done for last week, but it'll be coming back this week with a banger episode, hopefully. Not to mention Clone Deserters series on Saturday, which I think will be very fun. I don't know, we got a good lineup of vids. Also potentially a collab with Mighty Mapper 123. I think that'll be happening very soon. We've been discussing it for quite some time now, trying to figure out logistics of it all and stuff like that, but I think that'll be happening relatively soon, which is always very, very exciting. And then in addition to that, hopefully some more collabs with Forensic Steel, Wolf Wolf Wolf, stuff like that. I mean, we're doing some awesome stuff coming up. I'm very excited for the future of the channel as a whole, and just stuff coming up very soon. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Oh, those two went down pretty hard right there. Hate to see it. The U.S. Army is starting to finally make a big push out into the railway itself. Ooh, also on the right side over here, a big push. A couple of resistors left alive over here. This guy's facing the wrong way. Sir. Here, we'll face him the right way. There you go, buddy. A bit of a push over here. Machine gunner takes out that one soldier real quick. Honestly, just a couple of grenades like right over here will wipe them out. If the U.S. manages to do that, that would be certainly the smart thing. There's only about a squad over here, so they need to conserve their strength for the big attack at the end. Straight down the middle, still just sort of that bulk attack going on, which I think is actually working out okay. But you know, every time they push forward, they lose more and more soldiers. So it might be time to start being a little bit more tactical with your men here. But I suppose they can keep doing what they like. Though they are managing to take out quite a number of resistors in this last trench line over here, just in their bulk attack. The resistance is, yeah, they've lost a lot of troopers right here, so maybe it will work overall. Who knows? The U.S. Army does still have a lot of troopers left. I mean, pretty much all of them right here. This is the bulk of their force. This is like the majority of it. But I don't know if the resistance is going to be able to withstand that. I don't know. It's coming down to the wire. It's really 50-50 in my head right now. I am unclear as to who is going to win this thing. I really don't know. Part of me kind of like hopes the resistance does, because I love a good underdog tale, and I, you know, kind of rooting for them because they haven't had a good win in a while. So I think that'd be really, really fun if they did. But also, like, the U.S. Army, man, they're looking dope here. They're really trying their darndest. I wouldn't be mad about either, honestly. I think either could be cool. All right. Yeah, okay, so on the minimap right now, you can see blue are the resistors, and then red is the U.S. Army. They've got a lot of units like spread out in all of the back area, but like I said before, the main army's right here. Resistance has a ton of troopers on this last line over here, but they're slowly kind of losing them. And they've also got like sporadic troopers sort of sprinkled throughout defenses, like over here, stuff like that. So they do have a little bit of like guerrilla warfare capability left, and then it's gonna kind of come down to like their last position there, which I think will also be pretty interesting to see. I'm just like, I mean, the resistance is certainly outnumbered at the moment, but they've got that beautiful defensive advantage, and I mean, they've been crushing it so far, like just taking out tons and tons of troopers. So who knows, baby? Who knows? Be very, very interesting to see. One last trooper over here. This did end up falling pretty good there. I think they did grenade, which was the smart choice in the end. I mean, if they had gone through with like just a yeet assault, that wouldn't have worked out too well. So U.S. Army did manage to take over here, but they got like no troopers left. Most of them died, so I don't see them managing to do much. Oh, this guy over here. Oh, he gets taken out real easy there. But that trooper gets avenged. And this guy falls as well. Ooh, big push over here. U.S. Army coming forward pretty excitedly. Resistance from over here, though. Trying to cut them down from the side. Kind of accomplishing that goal. They're getting a few kills here. These guys do have good cover. Oh, but they're getting flanked from the right side as well, which is a shame. Two guys go down. One last alive. He goes down as well. These guys over here dead too. Hate to see it. Hate to see it. I'd say after this, I mean, if the Resistance loses this, they're going to be in a tight spot for the entire remainder of this series. So, you know, even if they do get a victory, they're going to need to replenish their forces, you know, get some more weapons. You know, they need to turn the tide here somehow. So I'd argue, you know, they need to strike a U.S. military base. Like 100%. If they don't get some tanks in their arsenal, if they don't get some, you know, bigger weapons, they're done for. Then that'll be it. Then you know, they'll truly be squashed, and it will be tough. Oh, big bang in the background there. Dorm room. You can always count on someone slamming a door or something like that. It's not the greatest place to record, but you know, you take what you can get. One trooper with a pistol over here. Scientist. Big science guy. Science man. Still some sporadic troopers over here, though, capable of, you know, hitting the U.S. from the side flank too. Yeah, this guy's getting a few kills, but he's also getting peppered. It's not an amazing position, but he seems to be doing all right. He's doing all right. Doing pretty Gucci gang, if you will. By the way, I hope everyone's Halloween was good. How'd you make out on the candy front? I personally didn't do too much. Hung out with some friends, watched a movie, stuff like that, which was great. But you know, my school actually always does they serve lobster on Halloween and steak, which is always fun. You know, it's a fun little treat. I think that's what they're going for. It's like, oh, we'll do a treat, you know, trick or treat. We'll do a treat for the dining hall. And it's always super crowded, but we went at a pretty off time. We went at like 8, so there wasn't, you know, people had already sort of eaten dinner and filtered out. So I got the lobster and I got the steak. I got both just to try them both. We do it every year. The lobster is always freezing cold, and you don't get butter with it. You basically just get a lobster. And so, I don't know, butter, lobster without butter, I think kind of sucks, in my personal opinion. So I wasn't too excited about it. I mean, it's always fun, but it doesn't taste great when it's cold and does not have any seasoning on it. So that kind of sucked. And then the steak, they always like burn the heck out of the steak. Like, the steak is so tough and so like it's not super cooked nicely. Like, I think they do that just to make sure it's like well done, and you know, no one's gonna get salmonella from it or any sort of food poisoning. So, you know, another kind of a disappointment, but it's a fun change of pace from the typical sort of dining hall food that they serve. So, you know, I'm not mad, but it wasn't this amazing experience. They did also have chicken Chesterfield, so I had a little bit of lobster and was like, this is just not good. I'm not gonna finish it. And then you get like a small bit of steak, so I had some of the steak. And then they also had chicken Chesterfield, which I love chicken Chesterfield, and they do that very well. So that was nice. The chicken Chesterfield was pretty on point, but the rest of it was just okay. I didn't really have any candy. I did have hot chocolate. Hot chocolate was good. Love a good cup of hot chocolate. But no candy. I feel like I kind of missed out on the candy for Halloween. Very sad. Very, very sad. Either way, the resistors back on topic here. They're doing nicely now. They're kind of coming in clutch. I mean, the trench line hasn't faltered. Some of the troopers out here have been going down a bit more, which sucks, but like they're still doing okay. They're not, you know, losing their positions too hard. They're taking out a lot of the US Army, so you know, this victory could still be in their grasp. They could still manage to do this. I think it's getting more and more plausible as this battle goes on. There's a few rogue US soldiers who are like, you know, coming at them from different angles, which I think is great for the US Army, but bad for them because these guys do pose probably the biggest threat to them because they're trying to focus on the mass of troopers over here. Meanwhile, these little flankers are getting some nice licks in, but they're not coming in too regularly, so it's kind of not too much of a problem, I'd argue. You know? I don't know. We'll see. There's a truck backing up outside, so you might hear like light beep, beep, beep. Actually, it's so dumb. At our university, like there are these like university vans. They're like small, tiny vans. Not big at all, but they have the backup noise, like the big truck, like beep, beep. It's so ear-splittingly loud if you're close to them. And it's like, it's this tiny van. You don't need this. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I think the main purpose of it is so they don't get sued, you know. So if they do back into someone, there's less of a case for a lawsuit because it was making this huge noise, this huge racket. I don't know, maybe I'm onto something there, who knows. Oh, that guy just got knocked down. He wasn't even dead. That's those bulletproof vests for you there. It's like a second chance at life for these troopers. Oh, he does manage to get a nice little kill there on one of those resistance troopers, but he goes down in the end. The battle has certainly lightened up a little bit here. Alright, I'm thinking, since all the US soldiers are sort of split up, let's start doing the squatting tactic where we just squad them together. That's sort of the rule of the channel now. When things lighten up, in terms of the battle, we squad them together. And that just sort of gets troopers to move out as one a little bit better. And it makes the whole battle just happen a little bit quicker. So, got a little bit of movement here. Soldiers actually coming out of the woodwork there and trying to attack from this side of the building. Lots of them going down, but they are managing to get some shots off. It looks like they might have taken out a couple of troopers, maybe? Nope, they were all just sort of injured, but they got back up. So those bulletproof vests, man, they're killer. They're great. Wow, okay. So let's just do a last hurrah charge for the U.S. Army here, because I think it's just about over for them, honestly. So let's bring them forward, see if they can manage to like do anything here, and maybe cop a win. All right, so we'll just get them all to come forward. Come on forward here, lads. I'm thinking this is going to be more and more that a resistance win is in the books here. It's in the books. All right, we can go out in slow speed. I just wanted to have them collectively come together. Lots of fire coming from the resistance over here. The U.S. Army is trying to spread out a little bit, get some good shots off. That guy gets absolutely nailed. His friend behind him double nailed. Oof. Hate to see it. All right, no one else is coming forward. Why aren't you guys coming forward? Are you like stuck or something? Are you stuck? What's happening? Come on. I want to see the battle. All these guys might be stuck. They like refuse to come forward, really. We got a few soldiers coming up over here. I think we have actually hit the point where the U.S. Army no longer outnumbers the resistance, which is really a pivotal point in the battle. That basically assures that the resistance gets a dub here. Yeah, the last few U.S. troopers in here aren't daring to exit their position. Okay, we got a little bit of movement from the middle tracks over here. A couple of guys coming forward. A couple of them getting nailed pretty hard. That guy gets back up. I love the bulletproof vest feature of this. It's kind of cool. Sort of brings second life to the soldiers. If they do get down, you know, they have a better chance of like picking themselves back up, gritting their teeth, going in a second time. A couple more shots coming in, connecting pretty hard with these guys. That guy gets tossed back by a few bullets hitting his bulletproof vest. That time he really died though, I think. Yeah. Sad. Yep. I'd say the resistance has definitely won this. The last few sprinkles of U.S. resistance trying to come in is getting thwarted. U.S. is now outnumbered against a defensive position, so it doesn't really work. I say we just retreat the remaining U.S. soldiers back. I think a lot of these guys are also stuck in these buildings here, which is no bueno. Resistance is firing at the retreating U.S. soldiers, not wanting them to get away quite yet, you know, wanting to still beat them down while they're down. All right, the last, like, squad or two is retreating back for the U.S. They have been defeated in this battle. They've retreated with probably like 20 or so troopers, I'd say, judging by the mini-map. And the resistance probably has like 30 or so still stocked up in that position over there. Let's check out the losses here. So yellow are dead U.S. soldiers, red are dead resistance soldiers. The U.S. has taken an absolute beating during this, like tons and tons of losses. The real nail in the coffin, I think, was over here. Look how many dead over this way. That's absolutely nutty. I mean, the resistance did take a lot of losses as well, but the U.S. Army outnumbered them, but they managed to hold steady and not not lose their positions. That was pretty pro. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying this series. Be sure to let me know if you want to see more, what kind of ideas you have for the next episode or so. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.